Okay, so this first question is I'm a new attorney that's had mixed success in interviews. A few months ago, I was on a roll and had multiple job offers. Wow. From those, I chose a boutique firm in a practice area I wanted to do. Ultimately, it did not work out with this firm. I know no firm is perfect, but I felt it was a bad fit. My work was well taken, but my supervisor was often combative and defensive with me, unlike with others, and did not seem to like me personally. That's a good point. I tried my best to turn it around and watch what others did to please this boss, and nothing worked. Eventually, she fired me pretextually over a minor mistake, which was very unfortunate and frustrating outcome. I also did not have sufficient allies in the firm, despite my best efforts. Just found it hard to connect with partner level attorneys. I'm now looking for a new position, hoping to find a better position. How can I determine if a firm is a bad fit or not likely to offer stability, or is there something I'm missing that I did wrong? Okay, this is a very good question. There's just so much depth to this and so many things that people ask that are similar to this every week. You have a bunch of issues that I'll talk about in this right now, minor errors. By the way, this minor errors getting fired is something that is coming up basically weekly. People are asking this question. So this is a very important question that, again, people have been asking this every week for the past several months, almost the past several months. So this is very important. We'll also talk about boutiques right now, and we'll talk about what else? I don't know, boutiques, practice area specific firms, and what else? I'm just trying to write down the issues here. And these are all, there's a lot of good questions here that everyone should understand the answers firms. We'll talk about, let's see, not no allies in firms. We'll talk about, say, finding a firm that can work, potentially. Okay. Practice area, my bad fit. Let me see. No allies, just making sure I have all the questions because these are very good questions. I think these will apply to everyone pretty much that is on this call. Okay, so the first thing I want to talk about, and then partners, firing partners not being nice to people. Okay, so let's just talk about, let me just make sure I have all of these questions that I want to talk about. Okay, I just pretextually firing. Okay, so the first issue is the one third rule. And that rule basically says that one third of the people that you meet, and this is a lot of studies have shown that, of people that you meet will like you. You will like and basically will like you. This is what applies, will like you. And the other one third won't care either way. They'll just think, oh, this person's best. And then the other third will dislike you. So that's how it works. So people dislike people and like people for all sorts of reasons. It doesn't really matter why it is, but your objective, of course, is to join a firm where, two thirds to four fifths will like you. And then you avoid the people who don't. Different firms have four fifths, different personalities. And so, look at that. Different personalities. And so you want to make sure that you join a firm where you feel like more people will like you than not. So I'm sorry to bring this up, but I'm going to bring it up, even though it's going to get me in trouble. It's not necessarily going to get me in trouble, but it's not something that people want to hear in a meritocracy. But people hire people like them. People hire and work well with people like them. Every firm has I talked about this today, but every firm has a certain personality. So they hire around all sorts of even political, whatever political and topological, or use that term, lines. So they hire topological. They hire people that are like them. So they hire people that may have been grown up in the same types of backgrounds, meaning from the same types of neighborhoods, from the same types of parents. They figure that out. I don't know how they do it, but people do that. And they hire from people that are the same political party as them. They hire from people that are from the same types of tribe, meaning it could be, and again, I'm going to go here somewhere that people are going to, it could be some same religion. It could even be, I'm not going to even say it, but it could be, first of all, I'll just say it could be mainly males. It could be mainly males, females. It could be people that look a certain way. I'm not going to get into this, but There are certain firms you will walk into and you will see everyone in glasses looking very nerdy. You will walk into others and you will think you're in a freaking magazine ad or something. It's just, that's how it is. And so people hire people that are like them. They hire people. If you broke up in high school, you had your stoners, your nerd, whatever, stoners, nerds, athletes, popular, non-popular people, like people go people go into different groups and they're part of different groups. So your objective, and when you're looking for a job, it doesn't matter if this is a freaking boutique or not. Your objective, the first thing is if you go into a boutique and people are not like you, there's a complete difference, then you are not going to do well. I knew a guy that couldn't get a job because he had gone to these great schools. Like I think he went to Yale, then he went to University of Chicago, or no, University of Virginia. I was in school with him, and his whole explanation of why he chose Virginia was because he was a polo player, and he learned this because he grew up very wealthy, and he had his own horses, and he went into interviews and talked about how he was a polo player. The response to that is people thought he was a hole, basically, and who has time to do that? And so he did not get any jobs, nothing, even though he had a great academic background. That's what so you identify with a certain group and that can hurt you. You go into a law firm that most of them, at least different cities, are very democratic, filled with Democrats, and you start talking about politics and how you identify with a certain political party and how you think all these things, people are not going to like you. If you go in and you appear on the a side of some very controversial political issue, people aren't like that, they're not going to like you. If you appear on the side of their political issue, they're going to like you. So you just need to identify with that sort of stuff. There are law firms that are composed entirely of people that are different religions. If you are in certain parts of Utah, everyone is going to be from one religious party. If you are in certain parts, if you're in Salt Lake City, that's not going to be the case, but it just depends. There are firms you can look at that's going to be almost all females. You get a sense of people. So my point is that when you join a firm, it doesn't matter if the firm's good in your practice area. It doesn't matter if they pay a lot. None of this stuff matters. If you do not fit in, if you're not going to do, if you don't feel that a lot more people are going to like you as opposed to not care or will dislike you, then you're going to be toast. You're just not going to be able to get a job there. And that's a problem. Or if you do get a job there and they're just hiring you because the work done, you're going to have a very hard time advancing if you're that different. It's just how it works. It's not to say that there's anything wrong with you or there's anything wrong with the firm. This is just how groups work. Now, everyone tries to say this isn't the case, and certain people will be advanced because the law firm needs people of certain backgrounds. Could be your parents or your famous politician, whatever the thing is. But the point is that if you don't identify with people, then they will come down on you and they will basically not like you because of something. They may have been, just to give you an understanding, they may have been all nerds in high school and they may see you as someone that was very popular and that makes them feel badly about themselves. And this is their way of getting back. Hey, I was a nerd, but now I'm in control and I don't like you and I'm going to push you out. Just this is how people think. But you have to understand the type of people you're going to work with. Now, are people always this way? No. Are well organized firms and so forth always this way? No. But it's just important to understand that. So again, people hire people that are like that. And if you make minor errors and you get fired, it's more likely that's going to happen. If it's not boutiques, it's important to understand that these are very closed groups of people. They're closed, they're very small, intimate groups of people. And so what that means that if you don't get along, if they feel any tension, they feel anything, that you're more likely to lose your job. That's just one thing. But you need to identify. People feel comfortable. That's very important. So if you don't do, that's going to help. The other thing just to understand is that if you don't identify with everyone, the firms are also more sensitive to economic trends. Sensors. there's economic trends. So that means if they lose business, it's going to hit them harder. Lose business, they like, business do not. I don't know if they all sorts of things can happen to boutiques. Also, practice area specific firms can also experience problems. If they do all bankruptcy, for example, then market can slow down and when the economy gets really good and they could lose business and be sensitive. You also have, in addition to these bankruptcy, you have firms that do things like I've seen there used to be a lot of firms doing IP litigation. And because of a Supreme Court decision, a lot of stuff happened with IP litigation firms and basically made it more difficult for patent trolls to sue. So that hurt a lot of the firms that were doing that. So boutiques can be very sensitive. And again, those are all the things that can happen with boutiques. So what I'm saying to you basically is that if you work for a boutique or you believe that you're getting fired for minor errors and so forth, a lot of times it's just because you're a bad fit. And bad fits, by the way, where you're not fitting into this one third and so forth, are much more likely to occur in law firms that are boutiques and law firms with a lot of people. So law firms with a lot of people, in order to get a lot of people, they need to basically attract a lot of different types of people into the firm. If that's not happening, this is what you get. And so you just need to be very careful about that. So this is a lot of questions this person asked that I just wanted to make sure that I answered it as well as possible. But anytime you're being fired for minor errors, this is basically because people don't like you. They're not going to fire you for minor errors. If people like you, they're going to defend you. So that just means you went into a group that's a bad fit. And you don't know why the group's a bad fit. They just may not like people like you. Sometimes it could be as simple. This is stuff I've seen. Great law school, great firm pedigree. So say I don't know, you went to Harvard and I don't know, Harvard and you worked at O'Melveny and Myers and then you went to and then you went to, I'm just using O'Melveny because they're such a well-respected firm. And then you go to a firm with people that didn't go to top law schools or what opposite people for whatever reason. So what are they going to do? They're going to want to go find fault to prove that they're better. All sorts of crap happens. Prove they're better instead of thinking you're special or whatever, and then we'll get rid of you. So it's just you have to be very careful of all this sort of stuff, really, and how things work in firms. You just want to make sure that all these things are being. So understand that's a long answer. I wasn't trying to overdo it. I just want people to understand this.